Hey, what is up, everybody? Thank you for joining another Speedcast interview session. I am your host, Zoom CW, also known as Julio. Thank you for joining. I truly appreciate it. I know it's a holiday weekend for everyone, so I hope that you guys are having a very safe and enjoyable holiday out there, out here in the United States. Today's guest, I'm very excited. You guys know him as Corporal Able Gomez on Netflix's The Liberator. He also plays Principal Lopez on Cobra Kai on Netflix. He is a very talented actor. His name is Jose Miguel Vasquez. Amazing actor, and I'm very happy to have him as a guest today. So let's go ahead and get him on the live session here. So we are having a little bit of technical trouble here, guys, so bear with me. Jose,
Hey, hey, man.
how are you, man?
I'm good, man. I'm good. Looks like we really got to work to connect today. That means it's going to be a good time.
Yes. Hey, man, thank you so much for being a guest on my Speedcast interview session. I truly appreciate your time. How you been, man? What have you been up to? Are you doing any hobbies or anything, or
Oh, man.
staying busy?
Yeah, today is the family. We got all motivated to get our some of our Christmas stuff out, and just kind of winding down from Thanksgiving and just kind of, Thanksgiving was the day we just kind of paused and just looked at everything and the way the year has been and tried really hard to just focus on what we could be grateful for. There's still obviously a lot to be grateful for. Yes, a lot of things have been very challenging. So that's kind of it, man. Just working on continuing to have awareness of where we are and where we want to be and all that. And, connecting with these kids. We talked a little, you and I, about being dads and all that. And these guys are growing up. So I'm just trying to make the best of the time while they're still here at the house and all that, man. So that's kind of it, doing our family thing, doing our YouTube family thing, and getting ready for more work, hopefully.
Very well said. That is so true. Spending time with the kids is big here in our household as well. And like you, one of mine is going to be off to college next year, and so we're spending as much time as we can with them, man. And
Right. Yeah.
time flies by. It's a blur, man. But
Yeah.
have you been watching anything on Netflix recently?
Oh man, a lot of little things, there's so many options. There's one show. It's what's the name of it? The Liberator is one. That's a pretty decent show. Yeah, I have a bit of an affinity for that show. It's very, very special place in my heart. That one, an incredible group of people involved, and I'm incredibly honored. It's still surreal, Julio. I'm not gonna lie. It's been so long since I've worked on it that when I'm scrolling through my feed and just like, just doing the Netflix audience thing where I'm just looking to see what to watch, and then the Liberator comes up and it's pictures of people I've worked with, and then I get to see this face, and it's like it's weird. It's still something that um it grounds me and it humbles me, and it's a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful story, powerful story, and yeah, it's definitely one of those shows that I want to watch again. But my wife and I are always looking at other stuff we could watch. But that one and Cobra Kai, that's another good one, another little good show. But man, thanks for asking, man. How about you? What are you watching on Netflix?
I'm watching The Liberator over and over. I mean, let me just, before anything else,
Oh man,
congratulations.
thank
Very
you.
well deserved. Dude, you absolutely were amazing in it. You Captain, Sparks, Felix Sparks, and Coldfoot Gomez. You guys were like the three guys that were pretty much, heading this thing from the beginning and to the end. I don't, no spoilers, but I mean, you guys just killed it, man. Your chemistry was amazing.
Yeah,
So I got to ask you, before you got this, when you read for the role, was there any chemistry testing between you, Martin, and Bradley James? Was there anything that you guys did prior to that, or did you just
no,
read that
no,
independently?
no. Yeah, we read for our parts very separately, but once it was decided who was going to be who, um, and I said this. I was talking to Bradley about this. One of the key moments in establishing that chemistry was I got a message from him, a direct message, shortly after it was kind of all decided, and immediately he addressed me as Gomez, and it was a powerful thing. It was a beautiful thing. It immediately established like this sense of brotherhood and acceptance that I was genuinely shocked to receive. I wasn't sure what I'd be walking into meeting these two guys. They've been at a level of the game that I've aspired to be at for such a long time, and the way they both received me, took me in as a brother, were patient with me as I got comfortable in this kind of a different level type of game. They treated me just like one of their own, and there was a family unit that was established. I had a whole week with them where we did training, where we did just kind of we built that chemistry prior to filming, and they showed up 100%. They really were their genuine selves, and I think it definitely reads in the show. You definitely feel. I felt it again all this time later watching it. I felt such a deep connection to how each of those guys, and not just the three, but the whole 157, all of the Thunderbirds. I can't tell you how many times I welled up. Those guys, they mean so much to me. They've transformed my life, and professionally and personally. They really have.
You know, kudos to the entire cast and crew, man, because I mean, this series was just mind blowing. And I was telling, Pedro Leandro last week. I said when it came up on my feed, that one intro, it just caught me right away because, when it said, Mexican Americans, Native Americans, Oklahoma Cowboys
Yeah,
working as one,
yeah,
I was like, oh, I called my kids, I called my wife, we all sat in the living room and we watched it.
yep.
And we binged it. It was just so good, so great. So I got to ask you, when you read the script, what was going through your mind? Were you like, man, I got to land this role?
Oh
Or
man,
was it,
what a great question, Julio. What a great question. As an actor, I get so many breakdowns, and thank God, a lot of opportunities come my way. Especially living here in Atlanta, it's and some roles get you more excited than others, but this one, when Gomez came through, something in me jumped. There was this like I've not had that feeling since. This sense of honor, and it could be that Julio, growing up, man, I would watch, Saving Private Ryan, Band of Brothers, World War II era warfare. I mean, war is horrible, always and forever, horrible thing. But something about that war that it changed our society in so many ways. I'm a history buff, so growing up as a kid, it was just like this far off dream to do something like this. And so when I got the breakdown for Gomez, World War II, and he's so a part of what needed to work for the story, for to tell Sparks' story and to really illuminate Coldfoot's story. I fell in love, man. It was love at first read. I read through the sides and I read through the script, and I was just like, yes, please God. And besides working my ass off to get where I needed to get, I was praying my heart off too, man, because Like a lot of those soldiers and like a lot of our Latino brothers and sisters, faith is a big part of our life, you know. And I did not hesitate to bring levels of that onto the set as much as I possibly could. So yeah, man. In short, to answer your question, I absolutely loved it, and I've not had a jolt of excitement with a role since then. Yeah.
You know, and what's been generally the feedback to you? I mean, most of those guys are, unfortunately, most of the soldiers, you know, either perished or are, you know, in their late 90s or, you know. But did you get to pick their brains at all? Anybody? Was there any reference points for you when you had to do the research?
Yes, not personally, unfortunately. I did get to watch a lot of interviews of, especially Mexican American gentlemen that today they're doctors, they're lawyers. Some of them are obviously retired, and some of them are consultants. Like these were men that before the war they were struggling to be seen as equals, to be treated as equals, to be treated like American citizens who are contributing to the development of this country. Um, so for someone like Felix Sparks to see the fire that our people had to go in and lay it all on the line, and obviously the way the country worked at the time is when those that did make it through, when they came out, the GI Bill, all that in place, these guys came back and they were able to change their lives. A lot of them were able to, and really got their professional stuff in line and elevated their lives and their families' lives. And you know, learning about that and seeing these guys talk in the interviews that I saw, I mean, I was, I just kept crying. I'm an emotional wreck sometimes. So watching this, I just felt so moved, and it still is surreal that I got to. I have this great honor to represent men that are far greater than I am, and they they still inspire me to just turn around and try to be the best man I could be for my family, for my community. Um, those are real heroes, man, and they're fading, and that's something that Alex Kershaw talks a lot about. The author of the book, he talks about how these soldiers are leaving us. They're falling asleep forever. They're going home, as we say, and all we're left is with the stories and their descendants, and we get to hear their stories. But the actual humans, the figures of their faces and the presence is leaving us, and there's something extremely bittersweet about that, you know.
Very well said, man. I gotta say, I got emotional. My kids got emotional. My wife got emotional when we're watching this because, you know, especially during these times that we're going through, you know, unfortunately, we can't escape it. It's part of our lives, right? Um, you know, when it shows the togetherness of the Native Americans, Mexican Americans, and the Oklahoma Cowboys,
Yeah,
it's not about our differences. It's about fighting as one, being
that's
one
right.
unit, and
That's right.
coming together. And when we saw this, you know, it was like, wow, I really hope and pray that a lot of people get touched by this or watch this series so they understand that we are the United States of America.
That's
It's
right.
not the United States of Mexican Americans or Native Americans or Oklahoma Cowboys. It's it's unity,
That's right.
and you guys definitely portrayed that. And when I look at your, you know, all the individual Instagram accounts of all the actors, you guys took that to heart, man. You guys were like
Yeah.
playing football, you know,
Yeah. Yeah.
partying out there in Poland when you guys were filming.
Right.
So can you talk a little bit about that experience filming out in
Oh,
Poland?
listen, man, I grew up with a kid sister. I only could ever imagine what it would be like to have a brother or brothers. And being in Poland gave me a full sense of that. You know, I had little brothers and I had some big brothers, and I got to be like a little brother. I'm an older brother. My sister's younger than me. So I got to sometimes just act out and be a kid, you know, and just a bunch of guys and being with the guys, all of that. It was quite magical, you know. It was quite magical to experience this this camaraderie amongst us, the sense of oneness, and you know, and just learning more about each other's story, because every individual I met had a path to get to Poland, and every single one of their stories impacted the way I look at life now. You know, you have so many infinite amount of perspectives on this world, on this planet, on this country, and meeting all of them added something to that. And that's why, I mean, all of them, every single one of them contributed to my growth as an artist, as a man. And I, you know, what I came back home with, I think anytime we're given opportunities like that, especially at least the way I handle it, I try to receive it to the max so that I can give it out to the max, you know? Yeah. And those guys didn't hold back. That was the best part. They didn't hold back. They were present 100%. So I'm eternally grateful for each of them, man.
You know, and you can see it on screen. You could definitely see, you know, that you guys definitely bonded out there. So, you know, I'm very happy for you, Jose, because, you know, you've been doing this for a while, and for you to land this role and to just nail it is amazing. And I'm so happy for you that you're getting the recognition, and you're such a professional actor. And you know, when I was talking to Pedro last week, we talked about the challenges of filming those scenes in a studio, because you guys were not out there on the field. You guys were not out there in Italy. You guys were in a studio. How hard did your method acting come into play? How hard was it? You know, your imagination, like even when you were a kid, right? You talked
Right.
about a little bit about that. You know, how much of that came into play because you had to pretend there was a tank. You had to pretend there was guys, you know, shooting at you. How
Right.
hard and how challenging was that for you?
Well, you kind of really started to go in the direction that I'm going to go, which is the imagination part. That obviously is the beauty of something that I developed. I mean, I genuinely can't remember a time in my life where I didn't imagine. I always had a chance to pretend in one degree or the other. So, but obviously you know, the training that I've had, all of this that comes into play. It helps the instinct to live in the moment. But theater, for me, it was very similar to theater. I remember when we got a tour of the studio, the smell of the paint and the fresh cut wood and the carpentry sounds, like all of that made me remember my days in theater and the importance of being able to see things that are not there, even and seeing them with all of your senses, hearing them, smelling them, and all of that. It helped tremendously. And and they gave us enough. The folks at Trioscope, they gave us such a great foundation with just the right amount of props, the right amount of a set, where when we did look off into the blue distant, after for me personally, I'll repeat that. For me personally, I wasn't struggling anymore. I was able to, that blue world became a little bit more vivid. But again, kudos to the crew and the director and the creators of the show, because they really gave us enough for me to find my footing and my ground. And if there was ever any moment of confusion, I never felt uncomfortable saying, "Excuse me, I don't know what I'm looking at. Where am I supposed to, like, where is it? How big is it?" You know, all of that. So everyone really was just so patient and willing to hear each other out and say, "I know this is weird. It's a weird blue bowl of a place that we're in, but yes, here's where they're coming out, and this is where you point and shoot, and go now, run," and they would like cue us. It's a beautiful dance, man. It just became this beautiful ensemble of people working behind and in front of the camera that I still get completely excited about. You know, I absolutely loved it. It was such a challenge, but man, I don't like easy things. I like to keep myself absolutely challenged, or else I'm not growing. You know what I mean?
And, you know, it looked legit to me, man.
Yeah.
Honestly, it looked like you guys were out there. I mean, you know, and before we get to the next segment, I just want to I want to let all the followers that are on the live, if
Yeah.
you guys want to submit a question for Jose, there's a little question mark at the bottom of the live. Please click on the question mark and submit your question, and we'll pull those up towards the end of the interview so that Jose can answer your question. Okay, guys, so please do that. Going back to the filming, when I saw the preview and we started playing it, I expected it to be something like Band of Brothers or like Saving Private Ryan. When I saw that it was a mix of animation and live action, the first thing I thought was, the Aha video, the Take On Me video, right?
Yeah.
It took me back to that. Pedro last week mentioned Sin City, right?
Yeah.
But I fell in love with the way that it looks. I mean, it's just the way it's presented. It's just so amazing. Now, when you saw the finished product, because you guys are out there pretending, right?
Right.
But as soon as you see that finished product, what was your reaction to it?
I'll tell you the moment that, because I could talk about this without end, but the moment that blew me away, completely blew me away, was not. I don't think it's too much of a spoiler, but episode 3 when we land in France. Oh my God, Julio! That whole segment of all of that beautiful city and the multitude of people welcoming us, and it was astounding. Visually, it was completely astounding because when we filmed it, yeah, no, then we didn't have any of that. We didn't have any of that. It was just pure imagination and the work we had with each other. I remember they gave us the little champagne glasses. We had 1 or 2 or 3 people welcoming us on set, and the rest they just kind of cued us. Yeah, now look here, look there, and just obviously live in this celebratory moment. Um, that moment was breathtaking, man, absolutely breathtaking. The opening sequence of episode 1 um with the fog and that first clash with the enemy, with the Germans, was I think what the moment that grounded me to what I was watching was when we lose our first guy. Oh gosh, Felipe plays him. I forgot his name. My goodness, forgive me. But it's when his helmet, you see the shot, and Spigs reacts to him like he just died. Like what happened? That moment also, that's when I realized this is something entirely different. And I loved it. I genuinely did. I know that the world has been a little bit divided on that, but I know the work that goes into making something like that happen. So I deeply appreciate it, and it still resonated with me. I love comics and I love graphic novels, so I just loved the overall feel of the whole thing, man.
I gotta go to that barn scene with you, speaking Italian, to talk to that kid, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Um, how hard was it to learn those particular lines? Did you know any Italian prior to this?
I learned a little bit for the audition because I needed to feel comfortable ad libbing here and there because I feel like in real life, and I always felt like in real life, if I was talking to a kid, um, there'd be these in between moments that weren't scripted. So I needed to find some footing with the Italian. So yes, I researched a bit of things that I would normally say in Spanish, and then because Spanish and Italian are obviously so close in their origin, Latin based and all, um, I I I really played with the audition part of it. When we were on set, we had so the young boy, um, him and his mom were fluent in Italian, so they also helped us. And the director Greg John Titus, forgive me, his last name's a little funny to say. Greg John Titus, he also knew some Italian, so I had all kinds of help on set to make sure we were really hitting those notes of comprehending what the kid was saying. That was actually my favorite scene to audition with. It was one of my favorite scenes to shoot because we were all together and we had this like funny, just like no no fighting moment, and we all had a chance to connect. So I love that you brought that up. Thank you. I really appreciate that. That's a beautiful scene. Yeah.
Yeah, I was just talking to my kids about this prior to coming on the live. I said, "Hey, you remember that scene in the barn?" And we're talking about it, right? And I go, "What about when Bradley said, you know, told the kid not to worry because, the Mexican Americans, the history of them fighting the French, right? And then, the Native Americans' history, and told them not to be afraid." I thought that was a very poignant moment in that scene.
Yeah.
So that whole it just brought things together to me.
Yes.
Um, So, I mean, you mentioned Saving Private Ryan, you mentioned Band of Brothers. Um, what else? I mean, was there anything else that you said, man, I got to research this, I got to do this? You said you were a history buff, but was there anything else that you did prior to that? I mean, before you got this role?
Before I got the role, a lot of what I was so moved by was I just got intrigued with, well, I wonder how many Latinos were in the war, right? And I wanted to find out the involvement of it. And the things I found out, I mean, blew my mind. There really, I think the Liberator is the tip of the iceberg when you talk about the Mexican American stories, the Puerto Rican stories, the Latinos of the time, and what they did in their involvement in the war. So that research led to other stories that I certainly hope will get told. And if by God's grace I get to help in those stories, I would love that. But this one really, I think, starts to ignite that conversation. And prior to even being offered the role, I was like, how did I not know about this before? You know, because in Band
Yeah.
of Brothers and you have Saving Private Ryan, you have your usual faces. The American hero, and the American hero usually is Caucasian and or Italian, right? And these guys had all these flavors and attitudes and behaviors that I absolutely cherished as a kid growing up. But there's something about being able to fully see yourself in somebody on screen, and I never realized that until later in my life. Not to take away at all from how deeply connected I was to Saving Private Ryan, even though the gentleman has deep sea blue eyes. The loss of a brother doesn't matter his skin color. It doesn't matter. I'll tell you, that was one of the saddest moments on set, was when we lost those guys. Um, on the 157, when the Thunderbirds, most of them perish. It was not a fun day, and I'll
That
be
was the bridge.
emotional remembering it.
Are you referring, Jose, to the bridge scene?
Yeah, the ditch, the
Oh,
bridge. Yeah, um, that was a gut wrenching day, man.
mm.
That was one of the most. It was a tough day. That was a tough day at work. It was fun. We still had a good time. We had our laughs while we were filming, but the reality of what that really signified was a tough truth to swallow.
Mm.
So
Yeah, and we have a fan question, and you pretty
yeah, I
much
see
just
that.
answered it. You pretty much answered it already.
There you go. Yes. Yeah, I
Yeah.
think I hope I did, Jesse. If I didn't, send me a little bit of a more specification. But yes, I mean, it absolutely it it made sense. I think it illuminated to me why, as a kid, it meant so much to me to watch these stories, um, because of the effect it had on our overall society. So anyway, yeah.
I think we had another question. Let me just scroll up here. Let me scroll down. Give me a sec.
Oh, here's.
Does it give you a throwback to filming set whenever you watch your episodes in The Liberator?
Oh, great question. Yes. So we talked about the scene with the Italian boy. That definitely took me back. But interesting. I've only seen the series straight just one time, and I've popped into different moments because my kids sometimes will just kind of rewatch it. And what's happening now is I'm watching it more from an audience member's perspective, where I'm just living these moments with the characters. There is a moment that does stand out because of the difficulty. There is a scene where Gomez picks up this machine gun after, one of the foxholes got obliterated by the shell bombing, and he picks up this machine gun. And in the show, it's so quick, you're like, oh, you don't even think about it. But that was so hard for me to do. That gun was so heavy, and the logistics of going the foxhole and making sure I picked it up, and then remembering which hand I put it down with. So that's something that, did make me remember filming, and the actual process of filming that, so that it looks like if it was nothing, como si fuera nada, como decimos. but it was a challenge, man. It definitely was.
And have you heard from like, World War II experts or historians? Have you heard any feedback from them?
um, Historians, not necessarily. I mean, I consider Alex Kershaw. Alex Kershaw again is the author of the book The Liberator, who inspired the series. Also, one of the producers on it. So we've heard from him. We've heard from people who love his books, and they all have been nothing but positive things. I think the most moving feedback has been from World War II veterans. Um, these gentlemen are watching this show, and I can imagine that it must be difficult for them to watch live action, and it must be difficult to watch even our hybrid animation live action version of it with Trioscope. But I firmly believe that there's this form of telling the story gives them a chance to live it, and they connected to it. So a lot of the feedback we've been getting has been very positive and just very thankful. And man, that is it. That's everything. That's everything. To hear from them, oh man, because everyone will have their opinions on the stories that should be told and the way it shoulda, coulda, woulda. And those are valid opinions. That's the beauty of cinema. Your opinion is 100% correct because it's your opinion. But ultimately, when it's based on especially real events, when the World War II vets have this moment of seeing themselves on screen, there's nothing like it, man. There's no greater honor. Yeah.
Very well said, man. Very well said. Brian, I believe it's Bachman said, and you absolutely crushed it, Jose. Great representation of some incredibly badass warriors.
Oh man, Brian Bachman. Well, listen, that guy, he's an amazing actor himself, and he's a veteran. He's a Marine, and I love him very much. He is an absolute monster in the acting world, and that comment means more to me than I've already told him this. The day I get to work with him, that'll be the day that he'll start to get a glimpse at how much those kind of words mean to me, because he's super generous, incredibly talented, and not to mention has served for our country and for our people. So it's a massive compliment. Thank you, Brian. Love you, brother. Thank you for tuning in. This is great.
And thank you, Brian, for your service. Thank you so
Yes.
much. And to everyone out there that has served our country, thank you so much for your service. Definitely. I think it was a perfect data release on November 11th. That was the perfect day, for Netflix to do this. And kudos to Netflix for definitely,
Yeah.
putting this out there. Definitely, and Mr. Kershaw for writing the book. Kudos to everyone. Please, everyone, go to Netflix and watch The Liberator if you have not done so already. It's amazing. It's great. I highly recommend it. I mean, I've watched it multiple times, like I said,
Mhm.
and it's just amazing. And this gentleman right here, Jose, is just killing in it. So please watch it. We're gonna switch gears a little bit. We're gonna go to another job that you recently did, which was Cobra Kai.
Yeah.
How has that ride been, man?
Ah,
Since
man. That so Cobra Cobra Kai, I'll tell you, man, that show is it's a lot of fun. I remember just watching it as a fan for a while and just thinking, man, this is amazing. This writing is amazing. The way they carry straight out of the Karate Kid original series, right? They take us right into the life of these beloved characters, and they're still conflicted, still colliding. It's just such a great show, and I had a few chances to audition for a few parts before I finally got Principal Lopez, and Lopez is very different than Gomez. Um, he is not as brave per se. But he it's still an amazing role. I thought it was a fun time, absolute fun time to do. Listen, for people that haven't seen the show, I don't want to say too much because I know a lot of folks are still trying to catch up to it.
oh, we're having some technical issues. I think you might have frozen, Jose. Oh, are we frozen? Can you guys comment down there? Are we both frozen? Oh, okay. So it looks like we had let's let's get Jose back on the live. Okay, sorry about that, you guys. So hey, we are live. So things happen. So let's see if we can get Jose back on here. He'll be back on soon. Okay, thank you. Thank you, Jenny. Bear with me, you guys. Let's see here. All right, let's see if we can get him back on here. Okay, so his phone died. Okay. No problem. Yeah, it happens. It happens to it happens to all of us. My phone, yeah, my phone has died on me too, so it's all right, guys, bear with me. Hope you guys are all having a very enjoyable Saturday today. Just gonna read some of your comments here. All right, let's see if we can get him back on. There we go.
Hey!
Hey!
I am so sorry, man.
No worries, man. Hey, we're live, man. We're live.
That's life, man. That's live and life. I was just completely in. I was so into our conversation. I had no tenía ni idea. I had no idea that my phone was like, "Stop! I need energy. Give me power." There it is, though, man. I'm
No
glad. Thank
worries,
you for
man. No
waiting. I
worries.
appreciate you waiting for me while I plug this thing in. And of
No
course,
worries, man.
I'm staring at the machine, and it's not like it's just not showing signs of life. So I'm like, what the heck is what's going on with this thing? Anyway, I'm back. So you were saying, I apologize.
Hey, before we continue, there's some funny comments on here. I know you can see them.
Okay.
Um, uh, your tocayo, Jose, is saying, did you see that?
No, I can't scroll up. I can't see. I only see as much as when I joined back again. No veo
So
más.
Mr. Palma, Jose Palma,
Yeah.
he's saying, some say he is the best Jose.
That's lovely. No, I'd have to say I think he's the best Jose. Mr. Palma is that guy. No, thank you, Mr. Palma, pero no. I think Costa Rica is has a lot to be proud of, man. That guy's hermano.
Let's see. Luke Avar says he's all our favorite Jose's.
Luca, oh, that's Spigs, man. Yes. I love those guys, man. I love them.
Oh, man. So you were talking about Cobra Kai about
Yeah. Yeah,
so
that's right. That's where I was. So no, just telling you, I think the day that we filmed that final scene, that up to that date, that was one of the funnest things I had done. The choreography of that final upheaval at the school, and I won't give too many details because I know some people have not seen this, so I'm like, I gotta watch out because there's just a lot of fun stuff that's going on. So if you're
mind blown scene, man. That
yes, oh the the artistry and it's not even see stunt work is hard all on its own, but this was more of a dance. The choreography, um, dance is a big part of our life in our family, so I appreciate it so much. And so to see the stunt team come together with the actors and coordinate all of this movement so that it's a one shot and it's just going through the halls, it's mind blowing. I just I couldn't believe I had a chance to just stand there and kind of watch all of it come together. It was wonderful, man. Absolutely a blast. What a blast of a show.
were you a fan of the whole Karate Kid series
Oh yeah.
prior to that?
Oh yes. Definitely. I mean, I've loved martial arts my whole life, and then seeing the Karate Kid as a kid. I mean, I don't even remember the first time I saw it. I was probably like in maybe late elementary school, so maybe fifth, sixth grade. The first time I actually sat and watched it, and it just resonated with me, because as a kid, you're kind of dealing with bullying yourself, or dealing with some of that feeling inferior to others, and then what's funny about Cobra Kai is that you start watching it and you're like, I'm totally rooting for Johnny Lawrence right now. What is this, right? You're like, wait a minute, what's going on? Like, I totally get this guy. I love that about it. I love that. And then it messes with your preconceived notions about each of them because of the way we watched it back in the 90s or whatever. And it totally messes with you as a fan, right? Yeah, man, I love the show. It's absolutely so much
I,
fun.
I got a funny story about that because I was at Comic-Con 2019 and they were out here promoting, William was out here, Mr. Kreese, Ralph Macchio, Cholo, and the rest of the cast. And, we were walking out by the IDMB boat and it just so happens when I was walking by, they were walking by, and I'm totally Team Cobra Kai because of what you just mentioned, what you just
Yeah,
said.
yeah.
So I'm like, hey, William, can I take a selfie? He's like, heck yeah, dude, let's do it. Boom. I said, Mr. Kreese, can I take a selfie with you? He goes, yeah, man, let's do it. Boom. And then I asked Cholo, can I take a selfie with you? He's like, yeah, let's do it, So it was like, and then I see Ralph Macchio on the other side, and people are kind of like just shining him, dude. I'm like, hey, man, that's Ralph Macchio. That's the
Right,
Karate Kid.
right.
But,
Yeah,
but because of the way that Cobra Kai was written, because you're seeing both sides of the story now, right?
yeah, right.
Because and I think the writing is just so well done. And when it first came out on YouTube, unfortunately, it wasn't getting that many. I believe it was YouTube Red. It
Right.
wasn't getting that many views. But as soon as it went on Netflix,
Yeah,
boom,
yeah. And I
it
had a
just
strong feeling
exploded.
about that. I think a lot of us did, especially the creators. I think then if it got on the Netflix wave, it would make a bit of an impact, and it did. It did. But you're right, man. I think it's illuminating both sides of their story. One of my favorite moments in the series is when both of them end up at a bar, and they're having this like almost like a friendship moment. And as an audience member, you're like, yeah, okay, these guys are gonna come together, and then no, it all falls apart. Absolutely falls apart.
That was
So
awkward, dude.
yeah,
That was such an awkward scene to
it was,
watch.
man. It really was.
The wives are sipping on margaritas, or the
Yeah. Oh
girlfriends.
yeah, yeah,
One
yeah.
is a girlfriend, one wife. They're eating Mexican food, and I'm like, okay, this is too awkward.
Yeah.
But congratulations on that role. I mean,
Thank you.
great work as well.
I,
They
I'll tell you really quick. I have to send a shout out to Paul Hauser, the uh, um, gosh, he is so my scene partner in that Stingray. He is a riot. He is a funny guy. We did so many takes where they just kind of let him improv at times. My greatest task of the day, Julio, was Dios mío, Jose, don't laugh. Don't laugh. By God's name, you cannot laugh. And it got harder and harder with the more takes that we did. Paul is he's so talented, man. He's so talented. He's a comedian. I think, I mean, I could, he's a musician. He's got all these abilities, right? And his timing is just so, his improv is so on point. Anyway, I had to say that because I'm sure there's a lot of Paul Hauser fans out there. He's just incredible. He's an amazing human, an incredible artist. And I learned so much that day. On top of laughing my head off, I just learned so much from him. Love that guy. I know he's doing great. So that's awesome, man. But thank you for letting me
Kudos.
talk about this today, man. It's great.
Thank you, and kudos to Paul, man. You know, kudos, definitely, job well done, and kudos to the entire cast and crew for making the Atlanta metropolitan area look like Reseda, California.
Yeah, I know, right? Movie magic, man. Movie magic. I obviously there's shots that I know they probably had to capture the original locations, but yeah, most of it is here. Most of it is here. It's mind blowing, huh?
And yeah, it's and it's pretty cool that you're out there, and a lot of the productions are moving, going to the Atlanta, Georgia area. Tyler Perry's built his massive studio out there. Stargirl's being filmed out there. Black Lightning is being filmed out there. Of course, we talk about the event. The Avengers. They're the ones who I believe started it, and Walking Dead, which you've been part of. Out of all those, the productions that you've been a part of, which one so far to you has been the most memorable filming in your backyard?
Oof, great question, man. Ooh, that's a tough one. That's a tough one because I genuinely have enjoyed myself on every single one of them for different reasons. Um, I will say, I think as a Walking Dead fan, being on the set of that was quite astounding. I had to get over that really quick because I'm like, all right, I got to do my part. I was nerding out completely, like, oh my god, this, that, and this is the. But then it's like you got to stop, right? You got to focus on the work. But no, I think I want to talk more about the way that Tyler Perry works and the amount of like work he can get done in a matter of hours, days, weeks. It's just so inspiring as a filmmaker myself, and knowing what it takes to go from page to shooting to editing, and the way his efficiency is, it's groundbreaking. I think it's innovative. And that's probably been the most impressed, the most like in awe of the process that I was. But again, all of the sets I've been on, they've just been, they're all dreams come true, man. This is a dream I gave up. So to be able to be doing it, um, it's it's an absolute thing that takes my breath away every time. It really does.
We were talking about our family earlier. We're talking, prior to going live. When your kids see you on the big, on the screen, big screen, I'll say big screen. Um, and the reason I'm going to call it big screen is because there are no big screens anymore. The big screen is TV. It is streaming service.
Yeah.
That's the big screen. And I'm so happy that you guys are getting recognition. When your kids see you on the big screen, what is their response? Do they say, "Oh, that's just dad doing another job," or are they in amazement like, "That's my dad"?
Yeah. It's more to the second thing you're mentioning. I think along with my wife, man, they've witnessed, not just witnessed, they're the driving force of why I do what I do, the way I do it. And they don't miss a beat on how much it means to me and how much it means to me that they are allowing themselves to be impacted by. The thing is, Julio, like I said earlier, I hinted at this earlier. I gave this dream up originally for them, and I thought I was doing good by them. And and a lot of people do this. You think I'm being selfless if I give up on my dreams, if I give up on the things that I love and want to do. Um, I felt like more when I was such a young dad. I felt like I was doing more by them by sacrificing all of that. And but I was miserable at 20 something years old, man. And these three kids had pretty crappy dad around, and my wife didn't have the best husband around. I was just miserable all the time, trying to work three jobs and trying to do this and that. And I was like, what the heck, man? This isn't. So they've seen all that. They've seen all that. They've seen the days of that, and then these days of hustling in the industry and doing the work now is very different. It's not. I mean, they would say dad's stressed out, but they know I'm doing something I'm passionate about. And so when they see some of the fruits of the labor, they appreciate it as much as I do, because I don't shy away from letting them know how I feel, how hard it is sometimes. And so they ride that with me, and I think they feel all of it. And I love that they do. They receive it. And that's just my kids, but my wife, man, she's my real hero. I mean, that's a whole other podcast or live session for sure.
And much love to your family, to
Thank
your
you.
wife for the support that they've given you. And there's a lot of kids out there, especially young Latino kids, that aspire to be actors, that aspire to be in the business. You yourself, you've gone through those obstacles, you've persevered, and I think the fact that you've gone through all those obstacles, that has made you a lot stronger personally as a human. Now, what's that one advice you would like to tell to those kids out there, especially those Latino kids, that want to be in the same shoes as you?
Never give up. Never give up. Once you have the slightest glimpse of the thing you want, of that goal you have, know that every day that you have is an opportunity to work toward it. And it's not, what I've learned recently is, you know, the fundamental thing for me is the constant work of my relationship to God, and how much that relationship reveals what I'm fully capable of. I think especially some of us that are growing up. I grew up without my dad. Um, it's hard to feel the full design of what our potential is. Um, well, I'll be the first to say, you know, hey kids, especially the Latino kid, if there's a little Jose out there, like, you're designed to be great, man. Don't think otherwise. Don't put yourself down. Don't think less of yourself. Sorry, man. Like, don't let yourself be haunted by this darkness that you're not good enough. Um, I've had too many interventions in my life that have proven otherwise. People that have lifted me up, that have been patient with me, that have allowed me to look at myself and say, you could do this, man. And so I have. I've persevered. So again, in short, don't ever give up. You're gonna do more for the world and for your family and for your community if you stick to it. Stick to it. Get up in the morning and know that you've got to stick to it, because a lot of good will come from it. More good than we could ever measure. More good than we could ever measure.
Very well said, man. Very well said. Great advice. If you guys are out there thinking about getting into the business, I mean, Jose just said it perfectly. Don't give up. Do not give up. Thank you so much for those wise words, man. And like I said, I'm so happy for you, for for your all your success. And I just, there's a comment in here that I wanted to read to you. Here. We thank you for following your dreams. Sorry.
It's okay.
We need definitely more Latino representation in the industry. Family, 100%. Your family is amazing. This is what we need, positive Latino role models. Always work hard for your dreams.
Yeah, thank you. That's sweet. That's very sweet. It's a lot of hard work, man, and it really is a family effort. Those are all beautiful words, but it's the in between time. The work that it takes, the patience, the prayers, the all of that. It's a family affair. It definitely is something that we do together, and we're still going, man. It's everyday hustle. It gets hard sometimes. but these little moments like this help pause and be like, okay, no, we're doing all right. We're doing all right. We'll just we'll keep the climb, you know.
Jose, are there, and thank you for that. Thank you so much for that. Are there any new projects that you could tell us about that you're currently working on? I know that you guys do sign, NDA agreements, but is there anything you can mention to us that
Yeah.
we should look out for?
You know, COVID has impacted our flow of work here in this household at least. So no, I don't have anything um, set in stone. There's always slight hubbubs here and there of things, but yeah, I don't really discuss anything until, I mean, really until I'm wrapped on the project and it's like said and done. Then I'll start telling people that are in the inner circle, like, hey, yeah, I did this thing. But it's always wise to just kind of wait for the right moment to say something. But for now, I'm just glad that things are starting to pick up again. It's been a very, very difficult year in that sense, but everyone's healthy in my family, and that's all I really can ask for. And there is signs of hope that things are waking up and we're getting back to it. So to say that I'm grateful for that, I don't think I probably have to say it in both English and Spanish to kind of really cover how grateful I am that there's still work out there. And we're just, the family and I, the kids and I are, they're all three kids are in the industry as well. So we're constantly working on our craft, constantly trying to help each other out. We read with each other. So that has been pretty special, is learning how to really elevate our game amongst ourselves here, and waiting to see what other doors open up for us, because wherever we're needed, and whatever we can contribute, we're going to do our best. So we'll be ready whenever it does come our way.
Awesome, Jose. I will love to have you back as soon as your next project rolls out, so we could talk about your new projects. But man, thank you so much for joining my Speedcast today. I truly appreciate it. You are an orgullo Latino to all of you. You're an orgullo to all of us Latinos out here that, that when we see representation on the screen, it just makes our day, man. It just, like I said, I mean, a lot of us here in the house, we definitely got very emotional. I don't want to give away too much, but one of your scenes, you know what scene I'm talking about.
Yeah, yeah.
We lost it, man. We just lost it. But thank you so much. Once again, is there anything you would like to tell your fans before we sign off?
Oh my goodness, just thank you so much for the support. It's why we do this. Yeah, I'll probably get made fun of a bit with this, but I've always known that fans are so important in what we do, the support, the viewership, all of that. But in this family, where, like I said, dance is a big thing, BTS has come into the realms of this family, the K-pop group, and they, I think, hit it on the nose, the importance and the influence that our fans have on our work. So it's an inspiration. So I just thank everyone that's tuned in, that is supporting. And if they're praying people, thank you for praying for us and for our family, or people that just wish us well. Thank you for all of it, because it's what keeps us going. It's what motivates us to keep creating. Because that's why I do this, is to make an impact on folks and to hopefully inspire them to pass on that same kind of positivity and love and hope and light, so just thank you. And hopefully we're just getting started. With God's help, we're just getting started, and we're going to continue doing great things, And to you, Julio, I have to say thank you, man, for being in tune, for receiving the show, for allowing yourself and your family to have a dialogue about it, for allowing your heart to drive you to do what you're doing right now, to bring all these amazing people and characters and artists to light. I'm so deeply grateful for you, for not just this, but it's, again, when you're not rolling the camera, the great work you do as a dad, because I know what it takes, man. I know the faith that it takes. I know the perseverance that it takes. So, and I know your kids are better for it. So God bless you for that, man. Thank you.
And God bless you too, man. You do the same thing. So thank you so much, Jose. And like I said, much luck and success to you and to your kids that are in the industry too.
Thank
I
you.
can't wait to see what you guys do next, man. I'm so excited. And much love to you guys. And I wish you guys a very healthy and safe holiday season. and a happy new year that's coming up. Hopefully, it's
Yeah,
a better year for everyone.
yeah.
And thank you so much. And you guys be safe, take care, and have a very enjoyable rest of your day, man.
You too, Julio. I wish you the same, man. Take it easy, and I'll see you again. Indeed, man. We'll be talking.
Thank you, Jose. You
All right.
take care, man. Thank you,
You too,
everyone,
man.
for everyone who joined today. We
Thank you.
appreciate
Thank
you.
you,
We love
everybody.
you guys out there.
All right. Thank you, guys. Everyone that signed in, I appreciate it. Take care of yourself, Julio. Hasta luego, man.
Hasta luego.
Chao,
Muchas
chao.
gracias.
Okay, claro.